But for this first hour of our show, we are joined by none other than AMAKA aka Coach Mox. Can I just call you Coach Mox?
Can we call you Coach Mox?
Sure, you can.
But did I get the name right, though? Did I get the name right? AGUGUA-Hamilton.
You did that time, not the first time.
Oh, man. I'm trying. No, but she is none other than the head coach of the UVA women's basketball team. And man, I'm so delighted to have had a privilege of meeting her, Razor, when she first stepped on grounds last year. And just the amazing work that you've done with the team, with the program. Want to applaud you, and leading into this season, wanted to invite you on to talk to you to see how things how things are going so far. What the new season looks like. But once again, welcome to Charlottesville. Appreciate having you.
Thank you. I guess I'm not really new to Charlottesville anymore.
Right.
Permanent resident at this point, no. But it's been great. Everybody's been welcoming. Year one is over. We're excited about year two.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We are as well. So, the first question is we got a few for you, and so why UVA? Like I know you may not have been asked that since last year. But what was it about the University of Virginia athletics program that drew you here for this step in your career?
Yeah, I'm a Virginia native. I'm from Northern Virginia, so not right here in Charlottesville, but being from the state, growing up. UVA was, women's basketball was in the forefront of the country. Debbie Ryan had them rolling, Dawn Staley, Wendy Palmer, Tammy Reese, all those great names before that had come through here. So, growing up, all I knew about UVA was the Final Fours, the Elite Eights, the championships, ACC championships, all that stuff. So I kind of grew up in ACC country anyway. So I always had a special affinity to UVA. And then the academic piece, I grew up in a household that valued academics, and UVA is a great academic school right in our state. So it's always been a place where I guess it's been kind of near and dear to my heart. But then when this opportunity came about, Carla Williams is just probably the best athletic director in the country. No shade to any others. She's amazing. And then just her leadership, her vision for the women's basketball program, for the athletic department, her ethics, morals, all that stuff was really in alignment with mine. And so to me, it was like, wow, this is, I'm a God-fearing woman, so I pray about everything. And I felt like, God put this in my path for a reason. And then on top of it, just the resources, the facilities, the community support, fan base, all that stuff, Wahoo Nation. To me, it was just a total package.
Nice.
Can I ask a question, Joe?
Oh, you don't have to ask the question.
Yeah, I ain't been here so long. I'm trying to be respectful as long as I can.
I appreciate it.
Coach Ma, I got a question for you. All right. What expectations have you set for yourself? Because I know coming into a new program, there's going to be nervousness regardless. When you tell somebody that you have anything to do with Charlottesville, they immediately try to associate certain atmospheres that have happened here with, your experience. So that being said, coming on year two, what type of expectations do you have for yourself?
I don't really like to put expectations on the season. I'm very optimistic about this season, just like I was last year. And, we ended up starting out great, 12-0. And then we had some injuries that kind of derailed us a little bit. But I love our group. I love what we're building. I love our foundation of culture and family that has been established here and just continue to grow. So I wouldn't say, we have team goals that I'll keep in-house on what we believe we could be capable of and what we're trying to strive for this year. But for me, it's just to continue to impact young people. I'm competitive. I want to win, and I want to compete at the highest level. So, winning an ACC championship and then going on to win a national championship is always going to be the goal that we are, eventually going to reach here. And, but I know there's a process, and that's why I always say progress is the process. I say that all the time because there's a process to this. You're not going to just, win a national championship overnight. So, we celebrate the small victories. We make small goals along the way, but we understand that progress is the process. So for me, the expectation, the goals is just for us to continue to progress, move forward, just help these young people become, independent, successful people that can strive in society too, outside of basketball. So I guess it's kind of like a holistic approach for me. I mean, honestly, I know I'm a basketball coach and I'm here to win games and things like that, but I also am here to impact lives, and not everybody
That's
thinks like that.
Now
That's right.
I don't think I asked the question correctly. That was the coach's answer, right? I want to know what expectations you got for yourself.
That
Like
is, I
just you.
answered the question. I'm a
Okay.
humble
So you're
coach.
just 100% coach. Got you.
Yeah, I'm a
Understand.
humble coach. Like what you see is what you get with me, and I
Okay.
lead with my heart, and I serve people. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that there's something that I'm striving for myself. I want to do for others and do for my family, and ultimately do for God.
Cool.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Appreciate
no
that.
doubt.
So yeah, and as you said, and as most folks know, like you came in hot start, definitely turn things around. And I think people can feel it. Like people can feel the culture. Like, but what's your words, to people, like kind of what you just alluded to, like to your team and just to the program, like when it comes to people really understanding, right, and like believing in the process, right? It's like, because that can be hard sometimes, and like we've even seen that locally, like even with our like high school athletics, where it's like when you go through these phases where whether it's kids aren't interested in a particular sport anymore, you're trying to rebuild a program, and and just like communicating that to the folks to understand that it's
Give you time.
Yeah, give it time. It's it's the process. Like how do you as a coach communicate that, like not just to your team, but like but to the fans, right?
Yeah, I mean, every coach is different, and what they stress is different. So you have to do what's uniquely right for you. But for me, culture wins. We talk about it all the time. Culture wins. So establishing the culture and having people buy into that and understand what it means, and having people defend the culture was pretty much what last year was about. And that's kind of an evolution of a thing. So you're going to continue to evolve each year with that. But our culture is based on love, respect, loyalty, synergy, camaraderie, being a safe place for everybody, no judgment zone, that kind of thing, where kids can really strive in that. So if you're a college student, but if you're a collegiate athlete, there's going to be adversity everywhere. Playing a sport, you're going to have adversity everywhere. So understanding how to persevere through that adversity and still be confident and be empowered and things like that are the things that we talk about. And all of that comes back to what kind of camaraderie does our group have? What kind of culture are we operating in? So if you're in a situation where you genuinely feel like you can look to your left and right and people have your back, and people, from a place of integrity and a genuine heart want you to be the best you can be, then it's going to be easier to get through those adverse times because you can do it with a group rather than by yourself. So for me, we use all the adversity. We had a lot of adversity last year, and we used it all as a teachable moment. Because when they get out into the real world, you guys know, I mean, life is hard. They're in this little bubble where, we kind of are helping them with everything, but we want to use that little adversity as a, microcosm of what's going to happen in the future in their life. So I guess all of that translates into how we operate on the floor, So on the floor, we have each other's back. I mean, you could break it down to an X and O thing where, our defense is predicated on, positioning and not leaving anybody on the island, just like our culture is. So everything kind of correlates. And I think that when you're rebuilding a program, you get people to buy into the togetherness of it, then you can be pretty successful.
Question: do you ever find the community or the fans comparing the men's basketball to the women's basketball program?
I mean, yeah, sometimes people say things like that to me, but I don't know if we have the exact same fan base. But if I'm ever compared to Tony Bennett, then that's an honor to me because I think highly of him, and he's an amazing person outside of being a coach. So if anybody does that, I'll take that.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And ladies and gentlemen, we are joined once again by Coach Mox, head coach of the UVA women's basketball team. Now, Coach Mox, so tell us about the recruiting process right now, because like you've made some big splashes, like you and your team, as far as like your staff rather, bringing in, the homegirl like Sam Brunell, this year having two, like All-Americans that's right here in our backyard, because for so long, UVA has been sort of, accused of sort of overlooking local talent. So so I want to hear more about you, as more from you about what that process looked like and the importance of recognizing talent that we have right here.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to keep the hometown kids home. I think it's important for many reasons. And Virginia and, Northern Virginia, DMV area, all that stuff is a hotbed for talent. There's so much talent in this state alone. So, for many reasons, one, being a hometown kid, either they grew up knowing about UVA, like Sam Burnell, who was a ball girl during some of the really good years, or their parents grew up knowing about UVA, or whatever it is, they have a sense of pride when they put that jersey on. It means something to them because this was their hometown school. So that's one. But then also for the fan base, they want to see one of their own thrive and take this program to another level. So I think it attracts more attention from a fan base, and they take a little bit more ownership in some of those kids. So there's so many things that are important about even in-state kids home, or even just right outside of Virginia kids that have grown up loving UVA. So that's been a focus, and that's always going to be a focus. The top kids in the state, we want to keep them here. But then after that, we want to get talented kids that fit my style of play. Number one, if you bring people in that don't fit your style of play, then that's when you're going to have unhappy kids and transfers and things like that. So one, they got to fit our style of play. Two, they have to fit our culture. That's really, really important to me. So you can be the number one player in the country, but if you don't fit our culture, I'm not going to recruit you. I just can't. You can fit our culture, but you can't. Maybe you don't have enough talent. I can't recruit you. We got to find the ones that have the best of both worlds, and there's a lot of them out there that also value academics as well.
Do you ever find people looking at you as an African American coach as opposed to just a coach?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's always been the case. I think there's a lot that look at me as just a coach, a great mother, a great wife, mentor. But I don't want to be looked at as an African American coach. I want to obviously represent my community. That's always going to be something that's in the forefront of my mind, and also open doors for others and help provide opportunities for others, people of color. But I want to get to the point where all of us women of color that are coaching, or even black males that are coaching, are looked at as equals, looked at as great coaches, and just people that mastered our craft. So hopefully we'll get to that day at some point soon. But I'm also more than just a coach, so I hope people can see that too.
Yeah. And in that vein, if like you were the first head coach of color at Missouri State for any of their programs, right? And so I'm glad to hear you mention that, because right now, especially with last year's tournament, like women's basketball, is definitely skyrocketed into the forefront because of just the amazing talent, and the game seems to be getting better and better. And so, your fan base here is so glad to see that, that our women's team as well seems to be right in that same vein, along with, with this wave of new talent and the new attention that the women's game is getting. And, like that culture, I'm curious about, that culture sort of like nationwide, because it seems to be like a pretty good, network and consensus of support, like whether you're talking about Coach Staley, former player here, and things of that sort. So it's like, what's your feelings about, like the women's game right now, and, and sort of like where it's headed, particularly, with the attention, for better, for worse, good or bad, that happened, last year in the, women's Final Four, but like how you feeling about the women's game sort of in general, as far as just as a basketball enthusiast?
Yeah, I mean, I love where we're headed. It's about time.
Yeah.
I think women's basketball is just such an exciting sport, and the more visibility we get, the more people are seeing that. It helps that the NBA and other male sports are promoting women's basketball, whether it be WNBA or they're promoting stuff in the Final Four from last year, or just collegiate teams that they like to follow. That helps, because they already got that attention. We're just continuing trying to garner that attention on our side. But I mean, when you watch the game, it's exciting. It's exciting. And I think before, we started to be on this uprise, there wasn't a lot of visibility. So you would see, some Final Four games and things like that, but there wasn't as many games televised.
Right.
Fan bases weren't exactly how they are now. You see a lot of full arenas now when you watch women's basketball. So it's just growing in all areas of the game. And I think that you're starting to see more women getting sponsorships and, more media traction. And even just in the year or the age of NIL, you're seeing women's basketball players leading the charge in that. So, I mean, I just think that it's going to continue to grow and grow, and it should. I mean, obviously, it's a little bit of a different game than the guys where, you see some dunking and things like that, but there's a lot of excitement in our game and there's a lot of talent. So hopefully that continues to grow into the professional realms where they get to get compensated more and get the same notoriety.
Coach, let me kind of shift gears, but not really. You're the first.
Hey, so before you switch,
I got
gears,
a good one too.
But before you switch gears, though, like the dunking, though, I mean, like that's all part of the game, though. Like, it's like I feel like that the game overall, like has just evolved, to where it's sort of unapologetic, if I may say that. Whereas, it's like because for so long, as we mentioned, like men and women's sports like tend to get like categorized. It was almost like, all right, well, women's basketball sort of played this way.
Fundamentals.
I mean, yeah, like it's fun. It's always been strong on fundamentals. But but it seems like here recently is like the women are coming out like we ball. Like we have individuality. You know what I mean? So I think that's great for the game. And you got like with the women, like to your point, the women dunking, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like so, it's all the whole evolution is good for the game.
It is, and you're going to see more and more women dunking in games. There's a lot of women that can dunk. It's harder to do it in the flow of a game, and you want to make sure you get that 2 points and not get subbed out. But you're going to see more and more of that.
That was a warning to all her players right there.
But back in the day, like it was Lisa Leslie, Michelle Snow, Charlotte Smith, those notable people that could dunk. And then it just started to progress. Obviously you had the Brittany Grinders and there was all these other people, but you're going to see more and more of it, which makes it exciting. But there's so many other things that are exciting about the game. So I just love the fact that people are paying more attention.
Yeah. Now, before raising those too, because this may feed in, because knowing your business mind, you may be going here. But you mentioned the NIL, like so we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that because part of the individuality like that has grown in the game as well. We now also have to where players can sort of make careers out of college now. Like so is that affecting your vision or your style at all?
Yeah, I mean, NIL is what it's meant for is good. There's people that, operate in the gray, toe the line, and also cross the line when it comes to that. But we're always going to operate with high integrity, and we're going to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. So you're never going to see us doing anything illegal or trying to, break rules with that. But we do want to make sure, our players have an opportunity to set themselves up for the future. So we, our collective that we work with, kind of third party that we work with is Cav Futures, and they do a great job providing opportunities for our kids, our student athletes here at UVA. So a lot of our players have, some of their own management companies that they work with too, just because they have that name behind them already. But everyone on our team has opportunities, and it's because we're in a community that really, really loves women's basketball and supports women's basketball. So, there's definitely, I guess, outlets in different areas where they can go to, utilize NIL, their name, image, and likeness. But not everybody does it the right way. I will say
absolutely.
There is implication and impacts with recruiting with that too. Some recruits are only looking for that, and they don't care about the other stuff that we can do to help them grow and win championships and things like that. So it just depends. It depends on the kid. Some kid is just like, how much you going to pay me? And other kids want to know what we're about.
Right. Well, that should be an advantage for UVA. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there for you, Coach Mox, because you are a distinguished lady and you will not say this yourself. UVA has plenty of money, so that should never stop a recruit. I'm going to put UVA on the spot on that one. What you got, Razor?
And everything she said actually ties into my next question is, when you said earlier that your thing is to help cultivate the kids and grow and help them build and become, successful, that references over to you as a coach as well. What's your feelings on when African-American coaches like Coach Sanders goes from a predominantly Black program to another program because of his success. Do you think it's fair that we judge our African-American coaches to say, okay, if you're successful, you need to stay around our kids and our people. Don't go to other institutions to grow. I personally don't believe it's fair to put that box on a person, but I'm also not a coach, and I'm not, in the rooms and know how people think and how hard it is to give people opportunities. What's your take on that when a coach has success and other people want them to come to different organizations that have more money, that have more power, notoriety? What's your take on that?
I mean, I think one, you got to do what's best for you and your family and your career. Maybe him going there, obviously he's different because he's a celebrity and all that stuff, but maybe that can enhance his platform to help more people. Everybody's situation is a little bit different, and how many people they can reach and what their ultimate goal and vision is, if they're trying to impact, this next generation. But for me, I think, because I did the same thing. I came from Missouri State. I had a great situation there. I was not, just going to leave there for anywhere. And there was a lot of opportunities that came around. I was definitely blessed to have that. Don't take that for granted. But I was looking for something special. And for me, it's just about where's God leading me, and that drives my life. That's a driving force in my life. So I prayed about everything, and this is where he was leading me. And this is a bigger platform than I was at, where I can affect change, one, and two, also impact more people and more young people and give back at a higher rate. So there's just so many things. And, you also position yourself now. I am a basketball coach, and I want to win a national championship one day, and I want to continue to be competitive, and I'm putting myself in a better program, that has more resources and things to help me get to that ultimate goal as well. So I think that everybody has to kind of value where they're at and weigh, can I do what I want to do here, from a basketball standpoint, from philanthropy or whatever, whatever standpoint you're looking at. Can I do it here? And if you can, yeah, you stay. If you can't, you jump. It's not always about money. I mean, I turned down lots of money because it wasn't the right situation. So for me, that's not a driving force. For others, maybe it is. But I think everybody's situation is very unique and individualized. So it's hard for me to say, should somebody do this? Should somebody do that? I don't know what the situation was for him at his other school. I don't know. I don't know that. But I know what mine was, and I know it was great, and it would have taken a lot to get me out of there, which is what it did. So I just think that, I don't know, everybody has opinions on things. I just look at it as, people are doing what's best for them and what can help them get to the next step and whatever their goals and dreams are.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know, right?
Awesome.
Great answer.
Great answer. So before we let you go as well, Coach Marks, I got to ask, and this is not to slight any of your other players, but it's just because we're in Charleston, we're in Central Virginia. Like, sort of, tell us, like, what is it about, Mo and Olivia and Sam, like that, for you to want them to stay home and be a part of this program?
Yeah, I mean, well, Sam, obviously, I had the job for like two weeks when Sam got here. So, she was my first recruit here. You always remember your first one to believe in the vision, all of that. Sam is just amazing. She's like an ambassador for our sport, honestly.
Yes, she is.
She's just very mature, understands, the process, bought into the culture, bought into my vision from day one. And we were able to use her in recruiting. She comes from like a crazy background. Everybody knows, USA basketball, this,
yeah.
Her rankings, all that. So it was great for recruits to see that somebody like that caliber, really believed in the vision. So we were able to use her in recruiting. And then Mo and O, they actually looked up to her when they were younger, because she was the one in this area that was garnering all that attention. So that helped too. But getting them was tremendous as well. I mean, Mo is right here. Like, she's from Charlottesville, a couple miles from campus or from grounds. And I'm still getting that together. But and Mo's talent is like, those are like generational kids. I mean, they come around once in a blue, and she is just a phenomenal young point guard that it has like a bright future ahead of her. Like her ceiling is so high, and I think people know that. But once they see her compete, they're going to be really impressed. But what's even better than her talent is her as a person, her character. She's just so selfless, so giving, just humble, that kind of thing. Just a worker. She's a worker. Like we have to run a sprint, she wants to come in first. Like she's just always, she has that mentality. So getting her also really helped with the culture, but also just future recruits. Same thing with Olivia. She's a different kind of talent too. 6'3" guard. You don't see that very often. And she's another one, just a high character kid. These kids are just very, very selfless. And I think that fits into our culture big time. And it doesn't matter all the accolades they have. Olivia has been, she's been ranked. She's been all kinds of things around the country and went down to IMG to finish her high school, which is a very well-known program. And they still are very humble and they still want to give, just give back and give to this program, give to the community that they grew up in. So bringing those three just helps. All the hometown talent that's young sees that and knows them, and it's really been helping us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great ambassadors for the game and for the university. Definitely. So, Coach Mox, thank you for joining us for sure. And definitely looking forward to having you back. And we will, we'll definitely be checking in, with the team and they're supporting and rooting you on. But before we let you go, though, what's your word to the fans? We kind of give you closing words to let the fans know how important their, support is, like what to look forward to this season, how to get them tickets.
I'm excited about this fan base. Wahoo Nation has been great since day one, since the day that I was hired. There was so much love and support, and then just to see the numbers of people, fans, butts in those seats, like I say, grow every single game, all the way to the last home game of the season. We had like almost 8,000 people in there. So I want to see us get to 10,000 and above, be consistent, because we're excited to watch, and I think our talent is just going to continue to grow. It's grown this year, but it's just going to get better and better. So their support means a lot. It was hard for people to come in here and compete because of our fan base and how loud they were, and they really had our back through all the adversity. So I appreciate them. I appreciate them so much. I say as much as I can. I try and write as much notes as I can, send thank yous out, things like that. But we need you guys, and get your season tickets. They're on sale now. It'll be an exciting season. We got some big games at home. So please help us get over the hump.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Been joined by none other than UVA women's basketball head coach, Coach AMAKA AGUGUA-HAMILTON. And like I said, continue your success. Always a pleasure speaking with you. Until next time, go Wahoos.
Go Hoos. Thank you.
Take care.